Watch carefully as Trump tried to take advantage of Nikki Haley's blunder with the Civil War question. She was asked what she understands to be the cause of the Civil War. She gave an answer she thought would not upset racists and white supremacists whose support she craves, and she got called out on it. In attempting to capitalize on it, Trump said,
They asked her about the Civil War. Why did it start? How did it start? She didn't use the word slavery. I'd say slavery is sort of the obvious answer. The Civil War was so fascinating, so horrible.
He said, the Civil War was so fascinating, so horrible. Which one was it? And what was fascinating about it? Does he ever say why he was fascinated by it?
It was so horrible, but so fascinating. It was, I don't know, it was just different. I just find it, I'm so attracted to seeing it. So many mistakes were made. See, there was something I think could have been negotiated.
Now observe carefully. He says, it was I don't know. It was just different. I'm so attracted to seeing it. So many mistakes were made. It was a war. It was different from what? What in the world does he mean he was so attracted to seeing it? Does he list the mistakes that were made? Maybe he means some of the troops from the north who were losing should not have surrendered because the southern armies massacred them even though they held white flags. Then he suddenly thinks in the moment. See, there was something that could have been negotiated. What could have possibly been negotiated about slavery? Some kind of part-time deal? Okay, you people can be slaves every other week? If anyone is paying attention, you can tell he's just trying to talk for filler since he mentioned the Civil War. Just read what we've posted word for word to see for yourself. Then we will share our other point at the end of this presentation.
To be honest with you, I think you could have negotiated that. All the people died, so many people died. That was the disaster. If you got hit by a bullet in the leg, you were essentially going to die or lose the leg. That's why you had so many people, no legs, no arms. If you got hit in the arm or the leg, it meant you were up because the infection, gangrene. It was just such a, sort of a horrible time. But I was thinking to myself because I was reading something and I said, this is something that could have been negotiated. It was just for all those people to die, and they died viciously. That was a vicious, vicious war. And in many ways, look, they're all nothing nice about it, but boy, that was a tough one for our country. But I think it's, Abraham Lincoln. Of course, if you negotiated it, you probably wouldn't even know who Abraham Lincoln was. He would have been president, but he would have been president. He wouldn't have been the Abraham Lincoln. Would have been different, but that would have been okay. It would have been a thing that, and I know it very well. I know the whole process that they went through, and they just couldn't get along, and that would have been something that could have been negotiated, and they wouldn't have had that problem. But it was a hell of a time. And you think of it today, I would have absolutely stopped Putin. He would have never gone in, and he didn't. For 4 years he did.
Okay. That's enough. Look at what you just saw and heard. Listen again if you think you missed something. First, a man who did everything he could to avoid going to fight for the country he claims to love so much, should probably avoid saying anything about any war. Second, you have to notice that in all his talking, he never actually says anything to show he knows details about the Civil War. Third, he talks about how bad it was and people were dying from getting shot. Does this not happen in every war? Fourth, does he ever say what he would have suggested the negotiations would be to solve the problem and prevent further bloodshed? What could have been a better conclusion than surrender and the end of slavery? Fifth, notice the history first of the great negotiator that Trump believes he is. A. He was ready to trade great parts of Ukraine to Putin. B. He negotiated the situation in Afghanistan with the Taliban instead of the actual government and now says bad things about the collapse. C. Since we are to believe he would have been so good at negotiating peace and a good resolution to the Civil War of that time, why is he actually stoking division among American citizens, leading them to view each other as enemies instead of negotiating peace?